Donald Trump has turned on his own daughter. And no, I'm not talking about Tiffany, who Trump doesn't seem to have the best relationship with. I'm talking about Ivanka, who Trump once said that if she wasn't my daughter, perhaps I would be dating her. The context of this betrayal goes back to the January 6th hearings, which began on Thursday. We're going to have day 2 of those hearings tonight, and they'll continue throughout the week. But last Thursday, on the first day, there was video testimony from Ivanka that was played, and it showed her basically saying that she did not agree with the bogus election fraud conspiracy theories as they were being made by Trump and his allies, and she instead trusted the word of Attorney General Bill Barr and his assessment that what Trump and folks who were supporting him were coming up with when it came to the voter fraud stuff was just a bunch of hogwash. Now, we've known ever since the beginning of the big lie that Ivanka and her husband, Jared Kushner, were not on board with the big lie. They didn't want anything to do with it. They wanted Trump to concede to Biden when it was clear that he had lost. And, you know, Ivanka and Jared, they're not really the most ethical people, but at the very least, they were not willing to go along with parroting the lies of Trump and the people around him at the time who were trying to end democracy effectively in the United States. But now we're going a step further because it's not just that Ivanka Trump is trying to hide from the spotlight when it comes to this voter fraud issue and the 2020 election stuff in general. She's actually had to make a stand when it comes to this, and she has with this video testimony saying that, yeah, she thought that what Trump and his allies were saying at the time was bogus. Let's first play the clip of what Ivanka said at that testimony, and then we'll go to Trump's reaction.
Told the president in no uncertain terms that I did not see evidence of fraud. And that would have affected the outcome of the election. And frankly, a year and a half later, I haven't seen anything to change my mind on that.
How did that affect your perspective about the election when Attorney General Barr made that statement?
It affected my perspective. I respect Attorney General Barr. So I accepted what he was saying.
Okay, so nothing over the top there, just a simple, yeah, I agreed with Bill Barr's assessment about the election and didn't buy into the bogus voter fraud claims. But Donald Trump will not allow even a modicum of criticism to come his way from family members or from anyone else, and so he just couldn't help himself but to take to Truth Social, or Troth Central as he likes to call it, and he had to post one of his truths, as they're called, quite Orwellianly so, by the way. He posted, quote, Ivanka Trump was not involved in looking at or studying election results. She had long since checked out and was, in my opinion, only trying to be respectful to Bill Barr and his position as Attorney General. He sucked. So Trump is implying two things there. One, that she didn't really mean what she was saying. She was just trying to be a kind-hearted person and was trying to stay on Bill Barr's good side. But also, it's evident from this that her opinion really isn't all that valid, right, according to Trump, because he says that she's not well informed when it comes to the 2020 election. She checked out. She wasn't one of the primary people studying the issue. And that's interesting because Trump and his allies have been going around for the past year plus talking about how the fraud was so obvious that we can all see it, right? You don't have to study it too extensively. You can just know by looking at, the voting machines and the dead people voting and the ballot harvesting and all of this nonsense stuff that clearly there was election fraud in the 2020 race. Well, if it's so clear that the general public can see it, how come Ivanka Trump, who had a role in the White House and presumably wanted to keep that role for the next 4 years during a second Trump term, how come she couldn't see it? Well, she just wasn't looking into it strongly enough, I guess. So obviously, Ivanka is on the right end of this, but it's just fun to watch because we know that Thanksgiving dinner this year is going to be awkward at the Trump family residence. And, I think anyone else in Trump's position after getting contradicted by your family member would just do your best to ignore it, right, to keep shut. But Trump just can't help himself. He had to take to social media to complain about this. And, I think this is probably enough. It's just, barely enough, but I think it is enough to add Ivanka Trump to the list of people who Donald Trump has turned on over the years. Who knew? His own daughter, she has made the naughty list.
We've talked often about the Mediterranean diet. The Mediterranean diet, one element is olive oil, and many olive oils are adulterated with fillers. Other types of oils are made with oils that are old or low quality. Brightland is where you get the good stuff. Brightland is a California-based company offering authentic, fresh olive oils and vinegars made from local harvests, never over-processed, no fillers or artificial preservatives, because Brightland only works with small California-based family-run farms that don't use harmful chemicals. They pay all workers a living wage. Every bottle has a label with the harvest date. Olives are harvested early in the season, pressed within 90 minutes of harvest for the highest quality oil possible. Brightland sells an olive oil set called the Duo, which I've been using at home. It's unbeatable. One is called Awake. It's a robust oil for breads and soups. The other is called Alive. It's smoother, great for veggies and salads. Brightland ships to you in recyclable bottles that protect against UV light and in sustainable packaging. When you go to brightland.co/Pacman, you'll get 10% off the Duo. The link is down below.